Okay, a little note now. It says, purpose is stronger than object. We did this little why exercise, and that's the beginning. Why are these goals important to you? But this is a good phrase to remember. Purpose is stronger than object. What you want is important. What you want will pull. What you want is like a magnet. Here's what I want. That's powerful, what you want. Benjamin Disraeli said, nothing can resist a human will that will stake its existence on its purpose. I'll do it or die. What do you want? Now, but here's the other part. What for? Here's what I want, but what for? What is the purpose? First is the object, is what you want. Second is the purpose. You might have said, I want $1 million home. That's wonderful, that'll pull. But here's what'll pull even stronger. What for? What for? And if you can describe more in detail to stir the emotion and the intellect and the spirit and the soul, here's why, here's what for, then it's the what for that's even more powerful than the what. What you're going to do with this home, the drama, the scene. Here's what I can see happening every day. Here's what I can see happening every week. It's going to be the centerpiece of the family activity. Here's what's going to go on. Here's the sense it's going to give me and my family. Here's what it's going to do for us. See, the purpose is what's really powerful, what's really strong. Not just the what, not just the structure, but the purpose. The purpose is the life. The purpose is the life force, the activity, the drama of what's going on. So if you can learn to do that, here's what I want and here's why. Here's what for. Armstrong just wins, all right? His 6th yellow jersey. Be a good question to ask him. What for, Lance? What was all this for? Well, 1 was to prove to myself. 1, after I beat cancer. Now can I do 6? This is one of the most amazing athletes in the world. And if you had a chance to talk to him and you finished the conversation, when you walked away, you would say, wow, now I understand why he did it. And now I understand how he did it. Now he gave me a sense of what drove him. Here's why, here's what for. Wow, when someone finishes that discourse, you say, no wonder the performance was extraordinary. No wonder the achievement was out of sight. Here was what for and here was the purpose. See, that's important. Talk that over with your children. What do you want and what for? What's it going to do for you? How's it going to make you feel? Then what's the next step beyond that? Once you've achieved that, now what? Okay. So purpose is stronger than object. Here's the next one now. On your goals, a lot of your goals need to be personal development, the person you wish to become. Positions of authority, position of influence, being able to influence not only your family but others, community influence, national influence. There's a whole debate now on who best influences the country and who could best influence the military and who could best influence the economy and who could best influence the other nations of the world and the leaders of the world. Who has the strongest and most powerful influence? Who could become a giant in terms of influence by language, by style, by background, by reputation? The person you wish to become, not just the center of attention, but perhaps the center of activity. Someone who can give directions, someone who can give people the right tips on early steps to take to build a career, to build a business. A person of supreme confidence that what they share is good and valuable. It's great to be that kind of person. There's a unique story of Lydia Colon, who started with $1 from the Spanish-speaking community in Miami. And now she's a millionaire, does business in several countries, and she's rich. And as she looked back over her story and how she got started, she was sponsored in business by someone. And here is her answer, part of the answer. I was sponsored and instructed and helped by the right person. If that hadn't occurred, I may never have had this opportunity, or I wouldn't have gone this far, or it wouldn't have been this easy for me to do. But thank God, she says, I found the right person. So jot this down. One of the greatest wishes and desires for all of us should be to be the right person. So that when somebody looks back, they'll say, wow, I could have met 100 people, but I met this person. I want to be that person. that when people look back say, wow, one of the reasons for my success, I met the right person that gave me the right instructions, that didn't lead me astray, that gave me the straight talk, told it like it was. Become the right person.
I'm going to make you a promise. If you will decide definitely what you want most during your entire lifetime and write it down on paper so that I can read it, I will give you the master key with which you may open the door to the attainment of your desires, whatever they may be. The exact moment when I will deliver this master key to you will depend entirely upon when you are ready to receive it. This is the first of 13 messages that I will deliver to you. Now, in each message, I will describe the master key in terms that you will understand, if you are ready to understand. And now I shall give you the first cue as to the nature of the great master key which has been responsible for all the great successes in every calling, in every part of the world. Please listen carefully to what I have to say, because you may discover the secret of the master key in this first visit. You may get your first cue as to the nature of the great master key when I tell you that psychologists have discovered a natural law which is the very foundation of all personal successes. And I can describe it to you in one short sentence so you can understand it. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. Isn't that a profound statement? You will notice that it says nothing about the need for education, but simply that whatever your mind can conceive and believe, your mind can achieve. Now, if you want evidence that the mind can achieve whatever the mind can conceive without the benefit of formal education, you only have to remember that Thomas A. Edison conceived the idea of becoming an inventor and lived to become the world's greatest scientist in the field of invention, with only 3 months of common school education. When I first heard Andrew Carnegie describe this natural law, which makes it possible for you and I and everyone else to write his own price tag in life and attain it, I became so enthused over it that I began to search for the power back of it. And my curiosity led me finally to the discovery of the master key, which I shall reveal to you if you are ready to receive it. My search led me to the study of the spiritual forces with which all of us are blessed. And it was in this field that I came upon a clue which has enabled me to help millions of people to find their earthly destinies. I want to describe my discovery in the simplest terms possible, because it will reveal to you why it is true that whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve, regardless of how many times you may have failed in the past, or how lofty your aims and hopes may be. I caught my first fleeting glimpse of the profound law which provides the means by which we may choose our own purpose in life and attain it, while I was being coached by Andrew Carnegie during the organization of the Science of Success philosophy. I had just finished telling Mr. Carnegie that I feared he had chosen the wrong person to give the world the first practical philosophy of personal success because of my youth, my lack of education, and my lack of finances. Well, at this point, Mr. Carnegie delivered a lecture that I shall never forget. because it changed my entire life and paved the way for my helping to change the lives of millions of people, some of them not yet born. Let me call your attention to a great power which is under your control, said Mr. Carnegie. A power which is greater than poverty, greater than the lack of education, greater than all of your fears and superstitions combined. It is the power to take possession of your own mind and direct it to whatever ends you may desire. This profound power, Mr. Carnegie continued, is the gift of the Creator, and it must have been considered the greatest of all of His gifts to man, because it is the only thing over which man has the complete and unchallengeable right of control and direction. When you speak of your poverty and lack of education, Mr. Carnegie explained, you are simply directing your mind power to attract these undesirable circumstances, because it is true that whatever your mind feeds upon, your mind attracts to you. Now you see why it is important that you recognize that all success begins with definiteness of purpose, with a clear picture in your mind of precisely what you want from life. Then Mr. Carnegie continued his speech with a description of a great universal truth which made such an impact upon my mind that I began then and there to give myself a new outlook on life and set up for myself a goal so far above my previous achievements that it shocked my friends and relatives when they heard about it. Everyone, said Mr. Carnegie, comes to the earth plane blessed with the privilege of controlling his mind power and directing it to whatever ends he may choose. But, he continued, everyone brings over with him at birth the equivalent of 2 sealed envelopes, one of which is clearly labeled, the riches you may enjoy if you take possession of your own mind and direct it to ends of your own choice. And the other is labeled, the penalties you must pay if you neglect to take possession of your mind and direct it. And now let me reveal to you, said Mr. Carnegie, the contents of those 2 sealed envelopes. In the one labeled riches is this list of blessings. 1, sound health. 2, peace of mind. 3, a labor of love of your own choice. 4, freedom from fear and worry. 5, a positive mental attitude. 6, material riches of your own choice and quantity. In the sealed envelope labeled penalties, Mr. Carnegie continued, is this list of the prices one must pay for neglecting to take possession of his own mind. 1, ill health. 2, fear and worry. 3, indecision and doubt. 4, frustration and discouragement throughout life. 5, poverty and want. 6, and a whole flock of evils consisting of envy, greed, jealousy, anger, hatred, and superstition. Now, my mission in life is to help you and everyone who needs my help to open up and use the contents of the sealed envelope labeled riches. And the starting point from which you must take off if you wish to write your own ticket from here on out for the remainder of your lives, I will describe for you in these simple instructions. 1, procure a neat pocket-sized notebook, or something on the order of this one here, loose leaf affair. And on page 1, write down a clear description of your major desire in life, the one circumstance or position or thing which you will be willing to accept as your idea of success. And remember before you begin writing that your only limitations are those which you set up in your own mind or permit others to set up for you. And 2, on page 2 of your notebook, write down a clear statement of precisely what you intend to give in return for that which you desire from life. And then start in right where you stand now to begin giving. And 3, memorize both of your statements, what you desire and what you intend to give in return for it. And repeat them at least a dozen times daily. And always end your statements with this expression of gratitude for the blessings with which you were gifted at birth. I ask not, O divine providence, for more riches. but more wisdom with which to accept and use wisely the riches I received at birth in the form of the power to control and direct my mind to whatever ends I desire. Ends I desire. Ends